So I'd like to bring in legal analyst and trial attorney Misty Marris to weigh in on this. Misty, good to see you. First, were you at all surprised by the judge's ruling in this?
Well, interestingly enough, Nichole, it's so difficult for a defendant to actually get a change of venue in one of these high profile cases. The reason being, it doesn't matter where you are, what jurisdiction within a state, what county, what state across the country. Every single person is aware of this case. So it's a really uphill battle for the defense to make that motion and ultimately obtain the change of venue. I will say, when the hearing was playing out, the defense was raising an argument based on these jury survey questionnaires. So they surveyed what would be the jury pool. And this is a relatively small jurisdiction. And some of what came out in that survey process was not just that many people had already formulated an opinion about this case, but there was a significant amount of fear that if there was an acquittal, that there would be potential, this mob mentality like we're hearing about. In fact, there was one issue that was brought to the attention of the court where somebody said this courthouse will burn if Bryan Kohberger is acquitted. And the defense used that to establish that there was going to be fear amongst jurors sitting in that box to look at the evidence objectively based on what's in the courtroom, and ultimately were successful. So initially we thought this was unlikely, me and many other legal analysts. But as that hearing played out, it seemed that the defense was presenting an argument that the judge ultimately was in agreement with.
Yeah, and Misty, as you said, so many analysts did not think this would happen because it so rarely does. So it is being seen as a win for the defense. So my question for you, because of this win, is this initial, in any way potentially setting some sort of tone on what could happen as this trial proceeds?
You make such a good point. So yes, it is seen as a win. The defense was asking for this, and those were the different aspects the judge focused on. Number one, that this particular jurisdiction could have significant bias that would impede on the rights of the defendant in this case. The second was whether or not this courthouse was specifically equipped to deal with the intense media attention and crowds that are anticipated when this trial, which is of extreme public interest, actually goes forward. And would a location like Boise, for instance, where you and I were very actively covering Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, they've covered their high-profile cases. Is that a better place for this type of case? All of that being said, there is still an issue with jury selection. There's still going to be a laborious process to actually seat an unbiased jury. So it's a win in a sense. Maybe it's a win in the sense of course, it's a defense motion that was granted, but ultimately, there could be advantages on both sides. And a reason for that is, say we get through this case and there's a conviction, the judge might be looking at, all right, well, if I don't grant the change of venue now with the information that we have about this potential bias, is there a significant appellate issue down the road? So there's a lot of different facets to it and a lot of different considerations when this was made. So yes, it's a win. However, it doesn't alleviate all of the challenges and hurdles that are still going to exist with this type of high profile case.
And I don't have much time left, but I do want to ask you this. We know that so far this case has progressed extremely slowly. There have been pretrial motions. There have been these hearings. Right now, it's scheduled to start next June. It's supposed to last about 3 months. Do you think that happens as scheduled?
Well, right now, this new issue of a venue, assigning a new judge, the process that happens in this jurisdiction, that also is another factor that could create a delay. There's also significant motion practice that I would expect to see relating to the forensic evidence in this case. Remember, we have this hereditary DNA technology that initially identified Kohberger as a potential suspect. Much of that is going to take place in pretrial motions regarding admissibility and experts. Could we see it in June? I was actually having this discussion yesterday. I couldn't believe we were on the threshold of 2 years. We're already at a significant delay. Seems like the schedule right now, June, it's absolutely possible you could see additional delays, especially now that you have this venue change, in addition to all of just the procedural issues that you would expect with any criminal case that will be moving forward towards that trial date.
Oh, yeah, we will see what happens. Legal analyst, trial attorney Misty Marris, thank you.
Thank you.